You know what that is? That's new car smell. I have acquired a brand new pickup truck. I'll be revealing the details, my decision making, over on Too Much Handyman. Today's video is about finishing up this door, getting it ready to take to the house and fit in the hole. If you got questions, I got answers, put them down in the description. For those of you who followed the channel for a long time, know that we are now in my pro grade paint booth. That is a joke. I've sprayed dozens of gallons of lacquer. Tinted lacquer, did a lot of blue for a while, and a lot of clear lacquer. What I'm going to use on this door to get a factory finish is Watco. It's getting harder and harder to find the good stuff. This is a satin finish, so it won't have a lot of gloss to it. I'm using DeVilbiss HVLP, high volume, low pressure spray guns. This is the FLG4. A lot of people ask. That's why I'm telling you all this. I've got 3 units. One for clear, one for white, and one for coloreds. And then this piece of junk right here, I did some experimenting with.
Hey, what about that Harbor Freight one we see a lot about on the YouTube?
I don't even know why I still have this in a stand. That's junk. I never was able to get it to work right. These DeVilbiss are awesome. I'll put a link in the description. All you need is an air compressor. I set my air compressor pressure at 40 psi, and then I dial it down a little bit less here at the gun. And I have a gauge. I believe this comes with it, the gauge. Could be wrong, I'm not sure. But yeah, having a gauge at the gun works great. As far as preparation of the wood, I blew off all the dust, and I'll use a tack cloth. That's about it. The first coat, I'm going to mix this a little thin so it penetrates deep into the grains. It's going to raise the grain of the wood. It's going to be super scratchy. If you wipe it on, you brush it on, you're going to be scratching your head thinking, why is this so rough?
I just sanded this.
Well, that's because the wood grain raises up, and you're going to sand that mostly all the way off so that it's smooth. Your second coat will not raise the grain, and it will stay smooth. Now with lacquer, you don't need to sand between coats. Sometimes you might get a little bug fly in there, or a hair, or a piece of dust, and you want to sand that out. It's fine. Sand it out and then spray over it. Lacquer is probably the most forgiving, easiest finish to put on any surface. There are some limitations though with lacquer. I would not put this on a bar top or a tabletop that's going to see a lot of use. Doorways and doors and other furniture, cabinets, it works great on. So with any wood, you got to be very careful with your tack cloth. You do not want to grab a sliver, a little sliver hanging up, and yank it and rip it off. So go easy on the wood. Some of the cheaper veneered plywoods, you can easily rip off the veneer just by catching a little sliver. Just giving the lacquer just a final mix up. Got a filter. This little stand here that holds the sprayer, I got at Harbor Freight, and I have it screwed to a piece of plywood that has permanently bonded itself to the tabletop because of overspill. This here is just a bottle. I'm going to use it as a scooper. Try not to make too much of a mess here. There we go. 1, 2, 3, up and in. So for this first batch, I'm not going to mix up too much because it's going to be mixed, it's going to be mixed fairly thin, as I said earlier. Once I get to spraying down my layers, I will mix larger batches. But this will be enough to be my first coat, soak into the wood, raise the grain. I'm going to sand quite a bit of it off. Just eyeball it. I know for the amateur this may look unconventional, but for the pro wood finisher that has been doing this his entire life, 85 years, they say, is how it's done. I don't have to worry too much about humidity.
It's probably mid-60s temperature in here. It's a little on the lower side. It'll help with the flow. I'm burning brain cells right now, so I'm going to get this cap on. I'm going to get my respirator on. I got to get my air compressor plugged in, set up. Like I said, I'm going to set that to 40 psi. This shouldn't need any adjusting, and then start spraying. I keep hearing freaking riffraff outside. This here is our Harbor Freight hose reel. I've had it for, it's been 10 years? No, maybe 7 years. I've had to replace the hose. That's the only thing. The Harbor Freight hose lasted maybe 5 or 6 years before it started disintegrating. What I have on here now is a high temperature rated Husky hose. I think it's Husky. It is Husky. I'm going to need to bleed some pressure out of the valve. Right now I got it cranked up. Running out of room. Come on. I'm going to let the room stay at this temperature. It's actually cooling down right now. That'll allow this to level off, absorb in without drying too quick. I'll be back in maybe 5-10 minutes. I'll kick the heater on, bring this room up to 68, 70, maybe 72 degrees for 5 minutes, and then I'll be ready to sand. That's the beauty of lacquer, is you're sanding in between coats, or you're ready to recoat within 20 minutes. So it's been about 7 minutes, completely dry to the touch. I could easily start sanding now, but I am going to bring the temperature up in the room here. Told you I got low humidity here. 64 degrees, 20% humidity. We're going to bump up that temperature to about 70. Got the electric 220 volt heater over there, loud as heck over there. I'll probably give it 5 minutes before I sand. Doesn't have to be 70 degrees in here or anything like that, but that's just enough airflow and temperature increase to get this ready to sand. This is the last coat on the jams. I hit a little bit different angle. Before I was hitting it from both sides. Now this is the last pass, and I'm hitting it straight on top. Alright, there it is. That's a heavy hammer coat or a flood coat for the final coat. I'll check back in about 20 minutes. It's cold in here. It's only 55 degrees. The reason I can keep it so cold and have it work is I'm only at 22% humidity. If I was at a higher humidity level, higher humidity would slow the curing process, so I'd have to have it warmer in here. When it's that dry, you can work in those cool temperatures.
First side of the door is done. This is going to be the inside of the room. It's going to be the least seen door, or it's going to be the least seen side of the door. That's why I started with it first, so that the last side that I finish won't be touching anything. So I've got 4 sawhorses under here. I'm going to switch to 2. So I got to get 2 sawhorses out and get some microfiber towels on the ends of the 2 remaining sawhorses and flip this thing over. Probably should have gotten this taken care of a while ago, but I think I'm just going to pick this sucker up and set it down right like this on my foot. It's got some microfiber-ish towels. It's kind of used for washing your car. It's got a pencil here, blend fill, made in the USA, number 3. This is for doing wood touch-ups. So I've got a few spots that I'm just going to blend in. It's one of those things where only I'm going to see it, but if I can get it to the point where I can't see it, then nobody's going to see it. We'll see how good the lacquer sticks to it. But I got to go through and hit up a few spots with sandpaper from this resting on the sawhorses.
Alrighty, you let this sit. It's a little warmer than I want in here. It's sitting at 70 degrees, 26% humidity. I should have let the room cool down to around 66, 65 before I sprayed.
Go get yourself a caulk gun shirt. That's the official, original, only caulk gun shirt. You can get them on a hat too. There's also this sweet little logo I got on hats. That link will be in the description up at the top. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.